Hello, my name is April Leung, and today me and my team Bravo will be talking about digital citizenship. Now, what is digital citizenship? Digital citizenship is a way for users online to promote and protect human rights by being responsible and respectful to others. The digital elements that we will be talking today are education, literacy, rights, responsibilities, rules, security, etiquette, access, and health and wellness. Digital citizenship means using technology in a responsible, safe, and respectful way. It involves protecting private information, avoiding online threats, and using digital media legally and respectfully. Even as technology changes, the basic of digital citizenship stays the same. Keep your information safe and use technology responsibly. So today I will be talking about digital rules. Digital rules are essential guidelines that help technology users maintain a safe and responsible online environment. Violating these rules can lead to legal consequences and personal harm. Even though there are many rules to digital citizenship, today I would like to talk about the main ones, such as respecting others while practicing online etiquette, such as avoiding offensive or inappropriate content and comment. And if users were to stand upon those type of content, they would report it and report any type of illegal activity and poor behavior. Two of the main factors that I think are very important in digital citizenship are privacy and security, such as not posting your personal information. This includes protecting details like your name, birthday, social security number, and home addresses, and understanding how to manage digital permissions. Users must think before they post, because even if a user was to delete any type of content they have, it would still be there forever because of social media, screenshotting, screen sharing, and sharing it with then anyone. Do not share your password or any important information if you don't want people to have access to your account. And understand and abide copyrights. So, what are the consequences of not following rules of digital citizenship? According to a survey conducted by Cox Communication on National Teen Internet, 58% of teens share information about where they live. But it's not only high schoolers who post personal information. It could be anyone of age, such as younger children range from 5 to 10 years old, which can lead to cyberbullying, cyber grooming, leaking personal information, and reputation damages. People can get fired from their jobs from posting whatever they want, and schools won't accept other students if they were to post disturbing or dangerous things on social media. The Megan Meyer Foundation is a foundation that spreads awareness about cyberbullying and suicides to prevent it. Megan Meyer was a 13-year-old girl who was battling depression. She began to develop feelings for a boy on MySpace. This started as an innocent crush online, which turned into cyberbullying, which led Megan to end her life. It was found later on that the boy's account was actually fake, and it was created by Megan's friend and their mom to rekindle Megan and her's relationship. Unfortunately, they were not charged for their crime. After her death, Megan's parents lost their daughter and got a divorce. So, in order to avoid these consequences, how can we incorporate digital rules to become good digital citizens? In our article discussion post, majority of the class said that social media users can demonstrate good digital citizenship by being respectful online and protecting your privacy and others by not sharing personal information. In the discussion, 75% of the class mentioned cyberbullying in their discussions and how topics like digital footprints and digital laws need to be taught in digital citizenship course. If you see below, I included an example by Kristen, and she said that posting anything online does stay online forever, and it could get into the wrong hands by posting personal information. Users must promote kindness and respecting others online because it is very important to recognize that what you can post can impact not only yourself, but other people around you or anyone on social media. So, being mindful of the post can help address issues like cyberbullying and foster respect. Additionally, Considering limiting the amount of personal information that you share online to protect your privacy and the people that you love from strangers online. Up next is Digital Rights and Responsibilities by Lucas.
Hi, my name is Lucas de Oliveira, and I'm going to be presenting about digital rights and responsibilities. So to start off with, what are digital rights and responsibilities? Well, they are one of the 9 elements of digital citizenship as defined by Mike Gribble, a passionate and vocal figure in discussions about digital citizenship. It refers to the freedoms afforded when using the internet, or more specifically, the extension of basic human rights and responsibilities from the natural world into the digital, and our responsibility as decent human beings to respect such rights when interacting with other people. When you're anonymous or when you don't have someone in front of you to hold you accountable, it becomes much easier to trample on other people's rights online. There are countless examples of disparaging online activity every day, hour, second, pretty much all the time. This is no secret. There are harassment, cyberbullying, and even surveillance problems online that range from interpersonal conflicts to serious ethical questions stemming from a national government. A very public example that I'm seeing everywhere online right now is the situation with former President Trump. In the likely case that you haven't heard the news, Trump was at a rally for his presidential campaign when a gunman fired several shots at him, grazing his ear and killing a bystander in the crowds. A lot of what I personally saw online after the event were jokes and memes about the failed assassination attempt made in poor taste. I would argue that it should be a basic human right not to have a potentially traumatic event made fun of, let alone be made fun of by millions online. Given the scale of Trump's influence, I don't think it's reasonable to expect everyone to respect his rights wholly, but it's still sad to see and not ethical. Love him or hate him, the guy was shot at, nearly killed. What's worse about the situation, though, is that someone online said they were happy about the death of the attendee in the crowd, saying they would 100% immediately make fun of anyone who was killed at a Trump rally. This sort of comment completely tramples on the memory and respects that the man who died at the rally deserved, regardless of his political affiliation. In both of these cases, a person's rights are knowingly being violated, and that issue doesn't get addressed until someone outside the interaction intervenes. By recognizing people's inherent digital rights, we all share a responsibility to help protect everyone's rights online. Practically speaking, this means you can report content or interactions, directly confront inappropriate behavior online, or even notify adults or teachers if you're young. And this takes us to our final aspect of digital rights and responsibilities in the context of education. Similar to how parents, schools, and the government teach children how to behave in our society, the growing digital space presents a need for similar resources to be allocated towards digital citizenship. In terms of digital rights and responsibilities, this means not only educating children on the rights that everyone deserves online, but also developing the mentality to take action to help those struggling in the digital space. That second part is extra important since, as I mentioned before, it's much easier to do inappropriate things online than offline. It can even be easy to ignore instances of harassment online because you feel detached from the reality of the situation. Developing the ability to intervene when you see wrongdoing online is one of the essential components of being a good digital citizen. I'm not going to bother reading out every single word on the screen right now, but you see some statistics real quick about what people in the discussion for our article were saying. But you can see it with the high numbers, 93, 71%. People, a lot of people in discussion for our article, they were heavily favoring having teachers and parents bearing responsibility for educating children about digital citizenship. One statistic that I found interesting from the responses were that about 29%, about 4 people, mentioned any sort of proactive action against harmful behavior online, whereas 71%, about 10 people, uh, did mention avoiding harmful interaction or harmful behavior online. That meaning that they were saying don't cyberbully, avoid cyberbullying, avoid harassing, poor language, etc. Whereas only 29% were saying when you see cyberbullying, do something about it. And I think this discrepancy between the two numbers of this similar statistic might show some insight on how we, when teaching about digital citizenship nowadays, still don't put as much emphasis on engaging and preventing harmful behavior. At the end of the day, the responsibility for educating the young about digital rights and responsibilities lies with the parents, teachers, government, potentially even with the children themselves, should they look for online resources, which may be helpful, may not. As parents teach their children about ways to access society in the offline world, they should also devote some time and effort in order to educate their children about similarities between the digital space, but also but also the ways that the digital space is different and how they need to put extra care into preserving everyone's digital rights and their responsibility to do so. All that said, that's all for me. Up next is Connor Dolly, who will be talking about digital literacy.
Hello, my name is Connor Dolly, and my section of the presentation is on digital literacy. First of all, what is digital literacy? According to our main article, digital literacy is the process of teaching and learning about technology and the use of technology. Proper digital literacy involves mastering skills such as proper navigation of the internet, reading and processing online information, creating and sharing content, online communication skills, and identifying scams and misinformation. Digital literacy is important because in 2024, it is estimated that 66% of the world population has access to the internet, which is about 5.35 billion people. With all these people having access to the internet, it's important that we teach as many of them as possible digital literacy so that the internet can be a safe place to navigate. Here are some benefits of having good digital literacy. Accessing information. People can find research on a multitude of topics, tutorials, and answers to questions they might have. Social ties and networking. Using good digital literacy, people can connect with others who share the same career path as them and build a positive portfolio. Communication skills. By being able to talk to people all around the world, the internet promotes good communication skills that can be used in real life. Creativity. The use of new technology can inspire innovations, provide outlets for artists, and encourage collaboration between creators. Last is cybersecurity knowledge. Those with good digital literacy will be able to protect themselves better online. This not only includes protecting themselves from scams, but also creating strong passwords and protecting their information from being sold online. How is digital literacy relevant to the article? One of the main points of the article involves how it should be the responsibility of teachers to educate students on basic digital literacy and good digital citizenship. One example is the line, "Teachers in schools have a responsibility to educate them about the dangers related to inappropriate and unethical use of the internet." It also says parents, teachers, governments, industries, and organizations must all work together to make the internet a safer place, especially for our children. Teaching proper digital literacy to students at a young age ensures that they will be able to understand the benefits and dangers of online services. It also teaches them to identify and avoid illegal activity and internet scams. With it becoming increasingly easy for young children to gain access to the internet, teaching them digital literacy and ethics as early as possible is absolutely vital. How is digital literacy relevant to us as students? As college students, digital literacy is essential for us to be able to engage with and participate in our classes. The internet is required for basic needs such as taking notes, completing assignments, and checking grades. Multiple different websites and softwares must be used for a college student to be successful in their studies. Some examples at UNCC are Duo Mobile, Schedule Wizard, and Lockdown Browser. Without the literacy necessary to use these, students would be unable to log into their school account, be able to plan their schedules, or be able to take certain online exams. With the option for online classes becoming more available, it is important that all students are able to access scheduled classes, communicate with others online, and be able to navigate online interfaces. The earlier we learn these skills, the easier it will be for us to get acclimated to online-centric schooling. How is digital literacy important in our careers? A solid grasp on digital literacy is absolutely necessary for most careers in fields such as STEM, the medical field, business, and many more. For those wanting to go into a career in a computer-centric industry, it is important for them to not only be able to use current technology effectively, but also adapt to modern technology as it evolves. As businesses become more modernized and focus more on social media, Their employees will be expected to have a clean digital footprint. A study from the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta found that at least 92% of jobs across all industries require their employees to have some sort of digital skills. As time goes on and businesses become more and more dependent on modern technology, this number can only grow higher, ensuring that almost every worker in America knows the basics of digital literacy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Taylor Powell, and today I'll be talking about digital security within the context of digital citizenship. So, in the article we read last week, it mentioned that digital security refers to online precautions that guarantee safety, especially within online spaces. Now, the article mentioned that digital security was one of the 8 pillars of digital citizenship. However, the article didn't go into much detail regarding what good digital security is. And a couple of my classmates expressed their thoughts about digital security. David says, out of the 8 elements that make up digital citizenship, digital security is the most important to me. It's very important. And Griffin likewise says things such as artificial intelligence and virtual reality will continue to grow, and the need for digital citizenship education and cybersecurity awareness will also grow. So, all that being said, what exactly is digital security? Well, digital security is pretty much the art of keeping confidential information secure. From Let's Talk Science, digital security refers to the precautions that people use to maintain their safety and the safety of others while using network devices. This means not sharing login information with people about important accounts, being aware that the internet is accessible to anyone with an internet connection. I'm sure you've seen a button like this before. This is a prime example of why digital security is important. One click of the button, people that have bad intentions in their minds might have access to all of your bank account information. So, digital security is very important, and there are a couple more reasons why it's really important. In order to have good, productive, useful online spaces, we need to make sure that those spaces are secure and safe. And as more important information moves to digital spaces, things like health records and bank account information, the need to keep this information secure and confidential is increasingly more important, especially keeping all that information out of the hands of malevolent actors who don't have people's best intentions in mind, who are just trying to drain bank accounts and move on with their day. So, all in all, digital security is just about mitigating the risk of using online spaces and making sure that those spaces remain productive and useful for as many people as possible. That being said, the future of digital security is something that must be taken seriously. It all starts with education programs in schools, educating students on why digital security practices are important, and how certain actions can lead to certain outcomes, good or bad, especially on these digital spaces. And implementing the strategies that we learned during these courses and being aware of which actions are potentially harmful will be increasingly more important moving forward as digital spaces become more and more prevalent in our lives. And another thing to keep in mind is the future of technological advances, things like quantum computing. This is Peter Shor. He is a professor of applied mathematics at MIT. And in 2017, he outlined a theoretical model outlining how quantum computing would completely shatter through almost all of the security measures that are currently in place with modern binary computers. Just because of the sheer processing capability of the quantum computers, new digital security measures are going to need to be developed. So as we move forward, digital security is going to become more and more important, and that's digital security and how it relates to digital citizenship. I'm Taylor Powell. Thank you for listening.
Hello, my name is Kevin Ibarra Rivas, and I'm here today to talk about digital etiquette while online. What is digital etiquette/netiquette? Digital etiquette slash netiquette is the electronic standards of conduct or procedure. It's a set of guidelines and norms for respectful and appropriate behaviors while communicating online. There's no official list, but most of them are similar. It's just all trying to keep you safe and make sure you know about your consequences of your actions while online. But to me, it means it's just a guidelines of rules to just conduct yourself in a safe and respectful manner while online. It's just trying to put an emphasis on how your actions have consequences online, despite there not seeming like any, and how you should most likely think about what you post or what you do online before you do it. Here are some general guidelines of digital etiquette. I have here be respectful when online. This one's very important since while you're online, just to avoid conflicts and such, you should always treat others with respect and treat others the way you want to be treated, because hopefully they'll treat you the same way. Respecting privacy. This one's just, it's just always should respect other people's privacy, but especially while online, due to how whatever you post online is there forever and you can't really take it off. You can delete it, but most like applications or social media things, they are saving that. So whatever you post is there forever, no matter what. But also here I have follow community guidelines. This one goes hand in hand with the second one. Just sort of for most applications or websites and such, they have community guidelines which are similar to digital etiquette, but not really since they're most so like explicit rules that you have to follow. And you can be banned or get in trouble for breaking those. So just follow those community guidelines because they also help you with digital etiquette due to most likely them the rules trying to make you be safe, respectful, and PG while on certain websites. Using proper language and grammar. This one is very important for the future and even even for your future jobs. Just to make sure that whoever you're messaging or whoever you're sending emails or text or anything to, just make sure you're using proper language and grammar, especially if you're sending one to someone in a work environment. Probably shouldn't be using slang or things of the sort. You should be using proper grammar and such just to keep it professional. Reporting abuse. This one is also very important because whenever you see something happen, like online, you shouldn't just sit there and just ignore it. You shouldn't just like hope for like it's not you. If you see something bullying or anything of the sort or just abuse on like the internet and that shouldn't be there, that's not following the community guidelines as I previously stated, you should report it. Just to make sure somebody sees that in power so they're able to help you with that problem. Think before you post. This one obviously goes in like line with everything else I've stated here. Because before you post, you should think about the whole situation that you're in, everything around you, and how what you post might do. As I previously stated, whatever you post online is there forever, so make sure what you post is something you'd want other people to see. And avoid online conflicts. This seems kind of they counter to the report abuse, but obviously, if somebody's trying to sort of bait you or try to make you engage with them in a sort of argument, the best thing to do is to avoid the argument and just let them just try to incite you to do something. Because if you don't give them any power, they can't do anything. Because at the end of the day, they want you to respond, they want you to say something back. But if you don't, then you win. Just don't engage and then report abuse. Why this is all important? Obviously, because we can maintain a respectful and communication online. If we all act respectful towards each other, and we all keep in mind that our actions have consequences, and we all just sort of keep those previously stated like guidelines and for digital etiquette in mind, everything online can be more so respectful and calmer. There's nothing like bad. You don't have to be. You can have a safe and enjoyable time online. It promotes positive and safe online communities. This one goes hand in hand with the last one, since if everybody's respectful and while communicating online, you have a whole group of people who are being respectful and communicate online, it's safer online communities and they're more positive because obviously if we just don't engage with the negative parts of online activities and such and ignore them, they'll go away and then what's left is all positive. It encourages accountability. This one's extremely important since most people while they're online don't have accountability. They believe they can hide behind this sort of screen. But if we all hold like ourselves accountable, then people will be more open to holding each other accountable, and that'll make them have more thought into their actions. So they're doing like digital etiquette. If we all do it, then everybody can be held accountable for their own actions. Helps prevent avoidable conflict online. I already had mentioned this earlier, but yeah, if you do these digital etiquette things, you can just avoid conflicts. You don't have to deal with that. You can just ignore it, report abuse, and that's the end of it. You don't have to engage with it. Promoting ethical behavior. Yes, because like the rules are sort of different, but they're the same. And the fact that they're trying to promote ethical behavior and bettering your activities while online to make sure they're all good and not in a negative manner that could get you in trouble. And reduces the digital footprint concern. And this one's important for everybody because your digital footprint is out there and everybody can see it. And if you have a sort of sense of guidelines or rules about it, you can subconsciously not have such a terrible digital footprint. Like you can just have a positive one if you being a good person online versus one which you could possibly just be posting or doing things that people probably shouldn't be seeing. So it is very important in reducing your digital footprint, all the concerns of it being negative. And here are some responses. Um, both these responses have a large emphasis on avoiding conflict and how important the good digital citizenship is in this online world. And both of these, yeah, both of these have very a lot of aspects that I had previously had stated, like in the guidelines. They all have sort of being respectful online, responsible, avoiding harmful and offensive posts and such. All these, without even them saying digital etiquette, is digital etiquette. It's just rules to keep yourself safe and better online, and it just shows the importance of it. Because not even just with these two responses, but most of them try to have more of an emphasis on certain things you can do. Oh, try to be respectful, try to avoid conflict, report cyberbullying. These are all parts of digital etiquette. It just shows how important it is and how much of a focus that everybody thinks that it should be. And up next is Digital Access by David Obelli.
My name is David, and I'll be talking about digital access. So what is digital access? Digital access is the ability for an individual to fully participate in digital society. So when we talk about digital access, we're talking about how technology and online resources are equally distributed. Digital access also deals with the ease of using technology. So basically, how different people of different skill sets or physical limitations, how they can use technology. And then the main issue with digital access is the digital divide, which we'll talk about in later slides. So why does digital access matter? So obviously the world today is very technology based. And so if you lack these digital resources, you're at a severe disadvantage. And the second point kind of plays on the first point. As technology continues to develop and play an even bigger role in our lives, this disadvantage and this gap only increases. So what is the digital divide? So basically, when we talk about the digital divide, we're just talking about the separation between people who have access to technology and people who don't have access to technology, or the different levels of access that different people have. So there are three main factors. So your location. So you can see the digital divide between different locations in the world or in the same location but in different areas. So for example, urban and rural areas, or maybe the wealthy part of town versus the less fortunate part of town. Number two, human disabilities. So people's physical limitations can impact the way they use and interact with technology. And so when we talk about digital access, we talk about how we can adapt technology to people's physical limitations. And then finally, your economic status. This kind of like I mentioned earlier in the location, um, your economic status, where you live, can impact the access in different ways to interact with technology. So, for example, people who go to school in wealthier areas, they may have access to more technology than people who go to school in less fortunate areas. So, technology ease of use. This deals with this deals with how people with disabilities interact with technology. And this is important to digital access because it's important that people with disabilities are able to use technology. So things like text-to-speech, closed captioning, keyboard shortcuts, these are all things that features that we know that help people with disabilities. Then we also have assistive technologies. So things like dictation software, screen readers, screen magnifiers, alternate keyboards. These are technologies that further help assist people with disabilities. And then as technology continues to develop, we'll continue to develop tools that can further help people. So things like Neuralink, that's been on the news, computer vision, using AI to help people with disabilities. These are all futuristic tools that are, some of them are being used now, but definitely as we go into the future, that we use to help people with disabilities. So the importance of digital access. Obviously, there are many reasons, but some of the ones include equity and inclusion. So make sure there's a baseline for people to be able to participate in the digital world. So like schools, they're giving hotspots for kids so that their education isn't affected by the lack of digital access. And that's the second point, education opportunities. As more education moves online, both formal and informal, make sure that we bridge the technological divide will help increase education opportunities for more people. Then communication and social purposes. Um, so basically, this is more worldwide so that we're able to communicate with each other so people can communicate with other people over long distances. And then finally, access to different services. As lots of services move online, it's important that as many people as possible have digital access. So finally, the ethical implications of digital access. So these are highly debated topics, ethical concerns when it comes to digital access. Number one is internet a human right? So this is something that the United Nations is debating, whether or not as our world becomes more internet-based, technology-based, whether or not internet is a human right. Number two, censorship. Um, what can you post online? What can't you post online? What's hate speech? What's not hate speech? These are all highly debated issues. Privacy and security, as more people are accessing these online resources, how can we secure the privacy and make sure everyone is safe online? The spread of misinformation as the internet and technology becomes our primary source of news. How can we curb the spread of misinformation? And then finally, global and cultural sensitivity. As the internet and technology becomes the global town square, how can we be sensitive to other cultures and their ideas and use the internet and technology homogeneously? Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Nur Al Hatu. Today I'll be speaking about health and wellness in regards to digital citizenship. So first we'll be discussing the issues regarding digital citizenship and their effect on our mental health. Like we previously discussed, we can encounter many offensive and careless behaviors on the internet, including but not limited to cyberbullying. Like in this day and age, more people than ever have access to the internet. And whenever we look, we're going to find instances of cyberbullying, whether it's at school, social media, or online games. And even though it's less physically harmful than traditional bullying, it can lead to the same mental health issues as traditional bullying. Next, gaming and social media addiction. Many of us are oblivious to the amount of time we spend browsing social media and playing video games. And many social media platforms are designed in a way to keep us browsing. TikTok, for instance, TikTok presents you with short video segments instead of long ones, so you would stay stimulated and keep browsing for longer. In addition to that, its algorithm adjusts the videos you encounter based on your liked videos, causing you to stay there for longer. Eventually, it gets to a point where we are spending the majority of our day online, isolating ourselves from real life and decreasing our productivity. Next, online hate speech. What makes hate speech dangerous online is the sender's ability to stay anonymous. People can make fake accounts using fake email addresses with no ties to their real identities. When talking about in-person hate speech, the person doing it might encounter consequences or go to jail. Comparing that to online hate speech, since we can't track down the perpetrator, there's nothing we can do. All of these behaviors contribute to a poorer mental health. Hate speech leads to depression and anxiety, so does cyberbullying. And gaming and social media addictions lead to an isolated social life. Now, let's talk about some facts and statistics concerning digital health and wellness. First of all, on the discussion board we posted, we asked you guys about the negative issues related to digital citizenship, and 13 out of 15 of you guys said cyberbullying. You guys recognize cyberbullying as a major cause of mental health issue. Next, in a study on online gaming addiction and depression, it was found that the less addicted students are to online games, the less they would suffer from depression and anxiety and loneliness. And the opposite stands true. The more addicted students are to online games, the more they would suffer from depression, anxiety, and loneliness. And lastly, there was a study conducted on teenagers ages 12 to 18, and it tested for online hate speech victimization and depressive symptoms. And it found that online hate speech victimization and depressive symptoms were positively associated. Moving on, here are some stories and examples of the mental health issues related to digital citizenship. First, we have an example of cyberbullying. Ghislaine Raza was a kid when he recorded a video of himself pretending to be a Star Wars character. And when his friends found out about this video, they ended up posting it on the internet. But the problem was the video went viral, and over 1 billion people ended up watching that video, which caused Ghislaine to receive a lot of backlash and hate and caused him to become severely depressed. Another example of gaming addiction would be Daniel Petrick. Daniel Petrick is a 16-year-old kid from Ohio who shot both of his parents and ended up killing one of them after they confiscated his video game. And I know that not all cases of mental health issues and regarding digital citizenship are this extreme, but they're more common than we think. We all have a friend who rages whenever they play video games, or we have a friend who can't sleep because they stay up on social media all night long. Moving on, the question stands is, how do we resolve these issues? First, start with setting up some boundaries. Try to limit the hours you spend on TikTok and social media. Today, I'm going to spend no more than 2 hours on social media. Also, another way is to remove the distraction. I use this method myself whenever I have some important dates coming up, some midterms, finals, etc. Delete social media and video games, making them harder to access, which makes me less likely to access them. Next, we have support groups. Support groups have proven to elevate depression. Also, family cohesion. In the study I mentioned earlier about online hate speech victimization, it found that victims who had family cohesion suffered less depressive symptoms than those who didn't. Next, we can limit exposure. A lot of social media websites have privacy settings to manage those people who can reach you and those who can't. Also, if you ever end up getting bullied on social media, the first thing you should do is to block the users so you can stop your exposure to them. And lastly, we have socializing. This is mainly for the people who don't leave home and are addicted to video games and social media. Socializing can be as simple as going on a car ride. You don't really have to talk to other people if you're not comfortable with it. Just being outside is good enough to make you feel way better. And next, we're going to have Oliver speaking about education and digital literacy.
Hi, my name is Oliver Ward, and today I'll be wrapping up our presentation by talking about education. So, digital citizenship is increasingly important as access to the internet and digital mediums has rapidly increased. But what is digital citizenship? Digital citizenship is a multifaceted idea that comprises of several elements, such as digital communication, digital literacy, informal digital regulation, and formal digital regulation. Digital security and safety is also something that's highly valued. These elements are the culmination of social norms and practices that help maintain the cyberspace. And although this has been covered very like in several different parts of our presentation, it's really important to understand just what is digital citizenship before we can educate others. So the internet is full of different fallacies. In the cyberspace, many young people believe that there aren't really consequences for their actions. The author of our article points out several situations where this is made evident. Going from our first fallacy, simply restricting a young person's access to the internet is not suitable for educating them on safe use. Young children are given Chromebooks in school, have access to computers in their libraries, have exposure from their surrounding friends. So many access ports, it would be nearly impossible to eliminate them all. This demonstrates why education is such a vital resource, as if young people are going to have access to the internet, they should know how to navigate it safely. Even when navigated safely, students also need to be aware that anonymity doesn't exist anymore online. With a plethora of companies tracking and selling your data, everything you do on the internet is viewed. Posting information related to your age, location, or financials could end up having dire consequences. Many young people have become victims to grooming and many other online bad situations that they feel trapped in. By helping to highlight these situations, we can help to avoid and reduce the number of these incidents drastically. Furthermore, many young people think that they're immune to the law online. When you make a post about someone online, there is always a consequence. Whether it's positive or negative, there is a consequence. In one case, Ghislaine Raza had an embarrassing video of himself acting like a character from Star Wars. It was discovered by his friends, and as a practical joke, they thought to post it online. This video ended up getting over 1 billion views, being parodied several times, and led to severe bullying and harassment to the young Ghislaine Raza. It was so devastating, in fact, that his parents sued the responsible boys for over $250,000. And similar incidents have occurred and ended in suicide or worse. These fallacies really highlight the importance of education. One such thing to consider is how children access the internet. With information online being stored forever, every decision a child makes online could have untold ramifications. As such, it is important to teach children not only how to utilize the internet, but about what digital citizenship is about and why we do what we do on the internet. Without educating our children on these small details, they become susceptible to many of the threats residing in the cyberspace. Telling a child simply, don't visit this site, is not as effective as saying, don't visit this site. If you do, there are many different difficulties that could come on in the future. They could start tracking you through other websites, selling your data. They could steal your identity. Teaching children why they take the actions that they take is just as important as teaching them what they're doing. Children are also gaining access to mobile phones at increasingly younger ages. According to the National Teen Internet Survey, 58% of teens don't think posting photos or other personal information on social networking sites is unsafe. In reality, posting personal information can lead to exposing your location, identity, or financials, and much more. In the worst case, it could lead to identity theft. But once your information is out there, there's no way to hide it. The same can go for the legal ramifications of certain posts. Moving on, our class had a discussion on the topic, and there was one general theme that kind of cropped up among all the posts. The internet is a double-edged sword. Although we have access to so much information, being able to authenticate and critically analyze it is a vital skill that most children need to be taught. The internet has several opportunities, but many of them are not always positive. Keat May highlights how operational security in middle and high school would be very valuable for teaching young kids. And that's really just the main bulk of what our class discussed was how can we navigate the internet safely and what makes navigating the internet safe. Coming from what can we do? How can we move forward? In conclusion, identifying an issue is just as important as addressing it. We have a few solutions. One of the big ones is promote digital citizenship and safe operational security of digital mediums. Make sure you're promoting safe websites. The Australian government has put together an excellent site to help children on these sites. The site's objectives are to inform, educate, and empower, according to the author of our article. This could allow students to learn more about the mediums that they're using to interact with the world every day. Not only that, we could also integrate digital citizenship education into the schools. By maybe having a digital citizenship week, students could have a week-long experience where they learn what and why we do what we do on the internet. This issue could be very clearly covered. The key to solving this issue is education. Here are our references. And that is the end of our presentation.